Understanding NJ's Lifeguard Pension Crisis. $37 million liability. A controversial pension law is putting a heavy financial burden on just a few New Jersey cities, leaving taxpayers to cover $37 million in unfunded obligations for lifeguard pensions. This report reveals how a system designed to protect seasonal workers has become a source of inequality, with some lifeguards receiving far more generous benefits than others. But here's where it gets controversial. The law requires cities to fund pensions for lifeguards, even though most of these workers never qualify for retirement. And this is the part most people miss. Many lifeguards are also enrolled in other state-run pension programs, creating a system that's both costly and unfair. The Lifeguard Pension Law, enacted over a century ago, mandates that fourth-class cities, those bordering the Atlantic Ocean, provide pensions for lifeguards. However, the program's rules are outdated and inconsistent with modern retirement practices. For example, lifeguards must work 20 years to qualify for a pension, that many of them don't even reach that threshold. Meanwhile, state-administered programs like PERS allow employees to retire at 65 with much lower contribution rates. The result? Lifeguards are effectively paying for retirees' benefits through their own wages, a system that's been criticized as both inefficient and unjust. One of the most glaring issues is the lack of flexibility in the law. While most state pensions let employees withdraw their contributions after leaving a job, the Lifeguard Pension Law does not. Only North Wildwood allows lifeguards to get back their money, meaning the majority of cities keep all the funds contributed by lifeguards. This creates a tax on junior lifeguards to fund retirees' benefits, a practice that's inconsistent with how other public pensions work. The financial toll is staggering. 6 cities, Atlantic City, Brigantine, Longport, Margate City, Sea Isle City, and Ventnor City, face $37 million in unfunded liabilities. That's enough to fund pensions for thousands of retirees for decades. Yet, the law doesn't require cities to return contributions to employees who don't meet retirement criteria, leaving them to subsidize the system. This is a clear case of favoring a small group of retirees while placing an unfair burden on working lifeguards. The law's inconsistencies are even more pronounced when compared to state-administered pensions. For instance, lifeguards receive half pay upon retirement, while PERS members get full benefits based on their years of service. Many lifeguards are also enrolled in multiple pension systems, a practice known as double dipping that's been widely criticized. This creates a situation where some lifeguards collect benefits from more than one program, further straining a system. So what's the solution? The report recommends amending the law to eliminate the requirement for fourth-class cities to fund lifeguard pensions, aligning it with other municipal programs. It also calls for reforms that allow employees to reclaim their contributions if they don't qualify for retirement. These changes would make the system fairer and more sustainable for both workers and taxpayers. But here's the real question. Should lifeguards be taxed to fund retirees' benefits? Or should the system be restructured to ensure everyone pays their fair share? What do you think is the best way to reform this system? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Atlantic City Underfunded Lifeguard Pensions Report. State Comptroller finds. A shocking revelation has left 6 Atlantic County municipalities reeling. Their lifeguard pension plans are woefully underfunded, with deficits exceeding $34 million. The Office of the State Comptroller's recent report has sounded the alarm, and it's time for these towns to take a hard look at their financial priorities. Atlantic City, Brigantine, Longport, Margate, Ventnor, and Sea Isle City are the 6 municipalities in question. But here's where it gets interesting. A 1928 law requires fourth-class cities, defined as those bordering the Atlantic Ocean with a population under 50,000, to provide pension plans for their lifeguards. However, the Comptroller's report notes that funding pensions might not be the most cost-effective way to attract and retain seasoned lifeguards. In fact, the report recommends that the legislature amend the law to eliminate pensions for new lifeguards and renegotiate with current ones. This proposal is sure to spark controversy, but it's a necessary step to address the financial burden on these municipalities. Longport, in particular, is in a unique situation. Despite not being an official fourth-class city, it established a pension program in 1987. Now, the borough must decide whether to continue this practice or explore alternative options,
such as a 401k or IRA. As law enforcement solicitor Michael Afanato pointed out, ultimately, it's a money issue. The Comptroller's report also highlights some disturbing trends. For instance, lifeguards contribute only 4% of their salary to the pension system, compared to 7.5% for other state pensions. Moreover, lifeguard pensions include overtime pay, which is not the case for other state plans. But what's even more alarming is that some municipalities have failed to comply with state requirements or disclose their pension liabilities. Ventnor, for example, did not deduct the required 4% from lifeguard wages, failed to contribute to the fund, and lacked adequate internal controls for tracking pensions. The report also notes that lifeguards who complete 20 years of service can start drawing benefits at age 45, with an average annual payout of $9,100. However, some individuals are double dipping, drawing pension payments from more than one public position. This practice is generally prohibited by state law, but there's a loophole for combining a state pension with a local lifeguard pension. Acting State Comptroller Kevin Walsh has called for the state to scrap the pension mandate, citing the significant financial burden it places on a small number of municipalities. It just doesn't make sense to give lifelong pensions for seasonal jobs, he said. As the debate rages on, one thing is clear: something needs to change. The current system is unsustainable, and it's time for these municipalities to take a hard look at their financial priorities. But what do you think? Should the state scrap the pension mandate, or is there a better solution? Share your thoughts in the comments.
New Jersey, Maryland Comptroller, pension deficit targets lifeguard plans. Imagine a scenario where a significant financial gap threatens the stability of lifeguard pensions in New Jersey. On July 23, 2025, the New Jersey Office of the State Comptroller made a striking recommendation. The state legislature should consider abolishing the law that requires certain coastal towns to provide pensions for their lifeguards. This suggestion arose after the office discovered that several municipalities had not adequately funded these pension plans, leading to alarming deficits that exceed $34 million. This situation raises important questions about fiscal responsibility and the future of public service benefits. Are we prioritizing the right financial commitments? And what does this mean for the lifeguards who dedicate their summers to ensuring the safety of beachgoers? Law 360 is closely monitoring this developing story, and you should be too. By subscribing to Law 360, you gain access to a wealth of information on rapidly evolving legal matters, trends, and significant developments, empowering you to respond with both speed and confidence. With over 200 articles published daily across more than 60 different topics, industries, practice areas, and jurisdictions, you'll always be informed. A Law 360 subscription offers a variety of features designed to enhance your experience, including daily newsletters that keep you updated on the latest news, in-depth expert analysis to help you understand complex issues, the mobile app for on-the-go access, advanced search capabilities to find exactly what you need, comprehensive judge information, real-time alerts to keep you informed of important changes, access to over 450,000 searchable archived articles for in-depth research, and so much more. Why not take advantage of a free 7-day trial to experience Law 360 for yourself? Stay ahead of the curve and be part of the conversation surrounding critical legal issues.